Why Clubs Die. I am presenting what I have experienced as a warning to you. This presentation may be grim, foreboding, wordy, and narcissistic. That is the point. My advice to you is to be pessimistically aware of your choice in public entertainment, or, as I put it, performance art, and even more pessimistic when choosing a profession in the entertainment industry. I may repeat myself, may repeat, and apologize, don't apologize. A club is not there for the musicians. It is there to profit the owner. If you are not recording, you are only playing. Never trust anyone that never laughs. The key to constant success is constant renewal and refinement. This is pattern recognition. When it comes to clubs, a developer of this new business will copy other clubs and make their new club like other clubs. Not wanting to fail, the developer will want to make a profit, like other successful clubs, by applying standard business practices. This is pattern obscurity. There are subtleties that will go unnoticed by the novice developer and you, the public. Very successful clubs apply invisible technology you and new club developers may not recognize. The obscure technical instrumentality in the successful club is lost on new developers not recognizing something beyond their experience and immediate perception. Application of this invisible technology is progress a club can make not obvious to an MBA, accountant, business manager, or new business developer. After the club is going for a few months, there comes a time when the club will progress, digress or degress, or stay the same. A club resides in one of these three states all the time. In this presentation, I use the expression club or clubs as a catch-all expression, substituting club for the following organizations and businesses, including but not limited to a nightclub, dance club, bar, bar and grill, restaurant, supper club, country club, military E-club or O-club, stage theater, and tour venue, where musicians, stand-up entertainers, and actors perform supported by ancillary volunteers and employees, never mind DJs. Clubs on military bases have no entertainment standards and no technical sound system standards. This does not mean social clubs like nonprofits. Club owner-operators depend on performance artists, like musicians, never mind DJs, to attract clientele for profit. Club owner-operators are not interested in the talent of the performance artists. They are only interested in their utility as an appliance, an animated version of a jukebox. This is why so many so-called DJs have sprung up in these clubs in recent years. DJs are not musicians, no matter how many people they attract. Fireworks displays attract more people. Most club owner-operators and DJs I have encountered are not musically inclined or technically sophisticated to understand sound reinforcement systems and acoustics. Often, club owners depend on DJs to install, maintain, and operate their sound systems. Some club owners contract with outside DJ entertainment providers to provide sound for their club, especially on military bases. Club owner-operators suffer the ultimate Dunning-Kruger effect. Simply put, someone is incompetent because they do not realize they are incompetent. This incompetence is highlighted by the junk sound in their club. The owner-operators believe they are doing just fine because they can hear the performance coming from the sound system. They lack the skills to know their sound is bad. This is a blind spot, or rather a deaf spot, a remarkable failure to recognize the deficiency in their club. Their deaf spot creates a false impression of superiority. Making progressive improvements in the sound system and room acoustics is the unknown unknowns problem, unknown to all but the most astute club owner-operators. Trying to convince a club owner-operator what they do not know is a fool's errand. They do not know what they do not know. They do not even have the skills to know if what they need to know is correct. They lack the skills needed to recognize how to proceed with sound system and room acoustic treatments, and cannot even evaluate the right thing to do, much less that a problem exists. The Dunning-Kruger effect renders them unable to go beyond their inability to recognize expertise, and are absent of the expertise in themselves. Some clubs have no sound system and depend on the performance artists, like the band, to bring and set up their own sound system for that particular performance. This is a cheap, undependable, and unpredictable way to provide entertainment. This is a formula for less than mediocre sound quality and offensive sound from the performance artist, degrading the reputation of the club. Most clubs have no standard of quality for their sound in their club, especially clubs on military bases. There are three main areas where live music has a default advantage over recorded music. Live performance venues rely on psychoacoustics, emotional impact, and crowd relationships of live performance to attract you to their business and relieve you of your money. Psychoacoustics. Research shows a heightened response to music when the listener is in the presence of the live performance, compared to listening to a recording of the same music. In the presence of a live performance, we feel the music more strongly and feel the direct impact of the sound in our body. The entire body is the organ of hearing, not just the ears. Live music is a primal attraction we do not experience in our day-to-day lives. There is also the primal element of abundant loudness we do not have in our homes, although some have abundant loudness in their personal vehicles, but the music is canned. Live music provides increased sensory input for the performer as well. Clubs offer the distinct attraction of high volume and crowd behavior that you cannot experience at home. Emotions. While we certainly have emotional attachments to a particular recorded music, you like live music on an emotional level not experienced at home. Not only does live music offer a greater emotional impact than recorded music, it is also adaptable in real time. A recording will always sound the same, but live performance can adapt to emotionally move those in the room. Take a happy song, slow it down to provide a peaceful ambience, or add aggression and pounding loudness to provide for feelings of excitement referred to as a rave. Relationships. Singing and playing music together has always helped people to band together under oppression, to celebrate with others in their communities, and to overcome loneliness. Music making uses more of the brain than hearing, offering an immersive experience. Music making together is a great way to build relationships. There are amazing things studio engineers can do that are impossible to recreate live, but nothing recorded can replace the experience of live music. Any one of the following conditions will repel customers. Many clubs suffer more than one. Any combination of these factors causes intolerable stress in your clientele, driving them out of your club or keeping self-respecting clientele from visiting. Good sound means plenty of well-heeled clientele. Good fidelity and likability in sound reproduction and professional operation go very far toward wowing clientele with deep pockets. Poor sound, what I call junk sound, reproduction, and unprofessional operation leads to financial disappointment, disrespect from your clientele, and failure as a business. Club owner-operators will never hear from disappointed clientele. They stay away. Many club owners are fatally not interested in the sound in their club. They may even reject any attempt at improving their club sound, offering excuses. As a test, ask club owners if they would like to improve their sound. Most will come back with answers like, "I'm too busy to think about that," or "Why should I spend money on that?" Poor room acoustics. The curse of the naked room. Treating the room for acoustics and proper speaker placement is more important than the sound system. In fact, almost all club owners are unaware. This obscure, invisible science is usually overlooked by club owners, mostly through ignorance. Acoustic treatments can add world-class quality to a club's sound. Proper speaker placement, together with the use of sound absorption devices, are what is missing in all but the best clubs. BAT absorbent panels, acoustic diffusion panels, cylindrical pylons, conical Hertzian radiators, and less so, bass absorption baffles, like in large rooms. Superior sound system performance is not possible without acoustic room treatment. Disregarding this critical technical aspect makes for a room that is acoustically out of control, otherwise called gymnasium acoustics. Control of the acoustics translates into happier and more numerous, well-heeled clientele and performing artists. Improper speaker placement. This may sound simple, but it is not. No pun intended. Never place or stack speakers on the floor or the stage, except the subs. That's the subwoofers. Multiple subs should be close together in front of the stage, not placed apart across from each other like on either side of the stage. A single sub should be in front of the stage in the center of the left to right walls of the room. Speaker placement is the least understood facet of sound systems. Flying the speakers, which is proper, the proper speaker placement, should be carefully and scientifically applied. Do not depend on DJs or musicians to place the speakers. Very few people understand proper placement of sound reinforcement devices. Hire an expert to place the speakers. Improper installation. Lack of maintenance and improperly calibrated electronics. It does not matter how much money you spend on the electronics if it is not properly installed, maintained, and calibrated. Sound systems also need periodic maintenance and calibration, just like an automobile. Schedule regular maintenance and calibration performed by an experienced technician. Do not depend on DJs, bartenders, or musicians to maintain your expensive sound system. The sound system is what fills the cash register. To prove this, turn off the sound system during a live performance. You can guess what happens. Musicians and DJs are like race car drivers. If you are sponsoring an expensive race car, the hired driver is the least likely person to keep the car in good working order. Distortion from overdriving. Operator abuse, such as a heavy hand on the volume control and yelling into the microphone without a limiter, are typical sources of distortion, which may result in speaker amplifier damage, never mind repelling customers. The quality of the sound is only as good as the weakest link in the reproduction chain. Overdriving amplifiers cause clipping in the amplification train, resulting in overheating the speakers, causing them to burn out at worst, and at least age prematurely, shortening their lifespan. Distortion causes listening fatigue in your clientele and forces them to put distance between them and your cash flow. Overbearing loudness. Hot spots of loudness naturally repel clientele. Hot spots are caused by improper installation of speakers. While you want the sound pressure level to be higher on the dance floor, the seated audience should not experience hot spot loudness. Sound reinforcement devices should be chosen specifically for the room. A heavy hand with too much reinforcement creates just as bad an impression as too little reinforcement. Operator error. DJs and performing musicians tend to overdrive sound systems, overbearing loudness. Most middle-aged DJs and professional musicians are partially deaf or hearing impaired, operating in a diminished capacity. Club owners should hire experienced operators that understand the factors described herein that contribute to junk sound when operating the sound system. Use discretion when choosing a DJ. because he or she is operating expensive equipment, in some clubs costing more than a new automobile. Club owners should think of the sound system the same way as a new car. Would you lend your new car to your DJ? If not, that person may not be a wise choice. Establish performance requirements for the DJ that you share with all employees. Encourage comment about the sound system and music from your clientele and staff. Consistent failure of the DJ or mixing engineer to perform established requirements should result in permanent replacement. Advocating violence, like blasting gangsta rap over the sound system, should never happen, and is a license for your clientele to disrespect you and your property. Club owners depending on a single person, like the DJ, for the business is a mistake. Figure out a way to operate without that person. The clue your business is at risk is if you cannot operate without the DJ. Never make the DJ your business partner, only an employee or contractor. Hearing impairment or hearing loss. There is often confusion and misapplication of the terms hearing impaired, hearing loss, hard of hearing, deafened, and deaf in definition and appropriateness of use. The term hearing impaired is often used to describe people with a degree of hearing loss from mild to profound, including those who are deaf and those who are hard of hearing. Hearing impaired may be something wrong with the hearing that renders a person less than whole. Unfortunately, technology has provided devices, machinery, environments, and vehicles like car stereos that produce levels of noise, sound, and music that can and does cause permanent hearing impairment. People who spend extended time bombarded by high sound pressure levels will damage their hearing. Examples of hearing loss victims: live venue disc jockeys, live performing musicians, recording engineers, construction, demolition, industrial factory workers, machinery operators, and some military. This dooms those people to a life of disability. The ability to perform their chosen profession, difficulty understanding what people are saying, and the inability to enjoy music or even social interaction. Particularly in the case of club owner-operators, loss of the ability to reliably perceive performance loudness the way their clientele are hearing the performance. Returning time after time to a high sound level environment is like being punched in the head every time. Eventually suffering permanent hearing loss, never mind loss of the ability to judge how loud it is in the club. If the club owner-operator and the DJ always turn up the sound too high, they are very likely hearing impaired. This may lead to disagreements and abandonment by employees and customers. Some people will leave the club when the sound is too loud. If the next morning, after exposure to high sound pressure levels, you wake with ringing in your ears, you have permanently damaged your hearing. That ringing sound is nerves in your ears dying, never to return to life. That ringing you hear is loss of that frequency you hear ringing and will never return to your perception. This is why young people can hear better than old people. Performing artists like live show musicians or bands seem to be dying, depending on which side of the footlights you are during the live show. I use the term dying in the performance vernacular, as in, that band really died out there, or the antithesis, they really killed it tonight. There is something that disturbs me so much, which brings me to a level of anger I cannot tolerate and keeps me out of live performance venues, what I call junk sound. Poor and incorrect application of the sound system in a room with no acoustic treatment, an indictment of ignorance of the club owner. This is my Sears mechanic syllogism. Buying a sound system for your club does not make you an entertainer. Club owners think that just because they built a tiny stage in the corner of the room, bought a sound system and propped it up beside their tiny stage will lead them to having a successful entertainment venue. Usually adding a tiny stage to the corner of the room is an afterthought. Almost every club I have encountered like this in the past 50 years, the club owner-operators consider performing musicians as an appliance, much like a jukebox. They put a few dollars in and music comes out. Unfortunately, performing musicians do not realize this, seem to realize this fact too late, or don't care for all their performing lives. Club owner-operators could care less about the musicians as long as the performers draw a crowd. Most of these places repel conscientious musicians and music enthusiasts because of one glaring thing: junk sound and inconsiderate accommodations, like a tiny stage, for the performers. And turn off those TVs. There is nothing worse for me to spend my time and money to travel to be entertained by live music than to experience it tortured by junk sound. This situation is worse than ever now that sound system technology has improved so much, proving that no matter how technology has improved, it does not help junk sound in clubs. It just makes the sound system louder and more affordable. The fact that most clubs are playthings for understimulated and partially deaf owners and their DJs, they could care less about the music and the musicians. A sound system does not equal good sound. It is mostly the acoustic treatment of the room. Then and only then does proper speaker placement make for good sound, unless the operator, like the DJ, of the system is deaf. Most club owners are either ignorant of this or do not care about good sound. Clubs live or die on one main factor: the invisible yet audible wow factor of good sound. That is the invisible technology I mentioned earlier. I proclaim 95% of live sound is the room. Proper and adequate acoustic treatment of the room is the only path to good live performance sound, not the sound system, the musical instruments, or the performance. Most club owner-operators are either ignorant of this or do not care. Yes, I am judging. This is what I call the deaf DJ syndrome. Club owner-operators and DJs are typically not technically oriented, sound system and acoustic engineers. Neither are most live performance artists.